What's good, everyone? It's Jambi 434 back again with another episode of NXT Back to Black and Gold. Unfortunately, I could not get this review up yesterday, so I apologize. It's because my internet connection decided to be a prick and didn't work for most of the day. So I'm going to drop this episode today and the episode next week as well. For next week for you today as well. So show starts. Riley Pierce speaks to Kassius Ohno after the beatdown on Ritchie Steamboat. After the main event last week, Ohno says he's just teaching him a lesson like his father, Ricky the Dragon, should have done. Ritchie then attacks him from behind as we then go on the air. Opening match tonight sees Drew McIntyre versus Ritchie Steamboat. The lockup to start. Drew had that freaking amazing Broken Dreams theme as well, so that's what I like. Even though I like his theme now, but Broken Dreams was just special, man. Lockup to start. Drew goes from behind. Ritchie takes him down with a snap member for a 1 count. Drew rolls out of the ring. Another tie-up. Ritchie gets a hammerlock. Drew fights back with a right hand. Ritchie hits a drop kick and some rights followed by a knife edge chop. Ritchie hits another chop with some rights. Drew hits a slight little claymore to the stomach then for another 2. Drew hits some shots and some right hands. Drew hits a snap suplex yet again for another 2 count. Drew then gets in an abdominal stretch. Crowd were getting really behind Ritchie here, but Drew was still very over in NXT as well. Ritchie fights back with some rights. Drew hits a shot to the throat to take him down again. Ritchie gains a little bit of offense and it's a sunset flip for another 2 count. Drew hits a body press then again for another 2 counts. A lot of near falls in this match. Drew continued with a knee to the face and goes for a body press again. Ritchie counters and gets some right hands in. Ritchie then fights back with the traditional clotheslines and then a shot to the face. Then Kassius Ohno comes out to distract Ritchie. And at the start of the match, we had the rule that Drew McIntyre could not use the cast. Drew does use the cast as the referee's back was turned, and it's a future shot DDT for the 3 count. I thought this was an okay match. Nothing really to rave about. Was not as good as the main event last week with Tyson Kidd and Michael McGillicuddy. Next match of the night, Big E Langston goes one-on-one with Aiden English. Starts with a lockup. Big E hits a bad body drop to start. Big E then runs Aiden English over with a running body slam and hits a big ending for a 3 count. This was literally a match that lasted less than 50 seconds. Big E then gives a stare to the referee and asks for the 5 count. This is the 5 count gimmick, which I loved. Referee then counted 2 more times and gets the win. A dominant Big E display again, so the build is starting to really get him into the NXT title picture, was getting underway. Big E then hits another big ending and does his own 5 count. I felt sorry for Aiden English here, but it wasn't too far away until he was in a fucking great tag team. Following the match, another big ending, and then hits another 5 count. Backstage with Ritchie Steamboat's backstage. He's looking everywhere for Kassius Ohno. Couldn't find him. Michael McGillicuddy is walking through the hallway, and Ritchie asks him, "Have you seen him?" McGillicuddy just says no, and as Ritchie walks away, McGillicuddy is on his way to the ring to address the fans after becoming the #1 contender for Seth Rollins' NXT Championship. A very good win and a great match last week against Tyson Kidd. McGillicuddy said he's heard that he is the #1 contender. No shit, you won your match last week. Also heard that it's Rollins' first title defense. No shit, and will be his last. Said he could sit out here all day and talk as he calls out Rollins and wants to tell him something directly to his face. Rollins comes out to a huge pop and says to McGillicuddy that he talks way too much. McGillicuddy said no, he hasn't heard anyone say that before. Remember who McGillicuddy's father is, one of the best talkers in the business. That was Mr. Perfect. Rollins said he can't deny how good McGillicuddy is, and it makes it easy as he runs his mouth non-stop and he has no respect for him. McGillicuddy said he hasn't either and never will have respect for Rollins and calls him a paper champion. Rollins says that there's nothing phony about this title, and this is the proof he needs. Rollins said he's never had to get a footpath into the WWE and done everything himself, and saying the talking's over. McGillicuddy looked a bit rocked by what he said. Like I said, his father was Mr. Perfect. Rollins wants to do the battle right now instead of next week. McGillicuddy walks away and wants nothing to do with it. He wanted to do it when he's ready and says goodbye in a bit of a sarcastic way. This was a good little promo battle, but I think McGillicuddy won the battle for me to really get in Seth's head. Riley Pierce backstage with Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel about their main event with the Ascension. Talk about how the dangerous Ascension are, and also that the tag team is that they can trust each other and they know each other's ability. The Ascension music hits, and they're at the top of the rafters, just giving it a bit of a stare down as they're on the empty building at Full Sail. This was actually a pre-recorded interview. Kassius Ohno goes one-on-one with Percy Watson. As Ohno is heading to the ring, he gets jumped from behind by Ritchie Steamboat in revenge from earlier in the evening. Refs come out and take Steamboat out of the arena. Match eventually starts. Percy offers a handshake. Ohno goes on the attack with a boot and then a knee to the guts. Percy hits a drop kick with some rights. It's a body slam as Ohno tries to move away. Watson hits a shot to the guts and a leg drop for a 2 count. Watson goes for another back body drop. Ohno reverses and hits some stomps as the ref breaks it up. Ohno again goes on the attack. Both men exchange chops as Ohno hits a knee to the stomach. Watson fights back and gets an atomic drop and then another drop kick on Ohno. Percy Watson's leaping was fucking great, as well as his drop kicks. They were some of the nicest in the business. Percy then goes for the Showtime splash for a near fall. Watson gets Ohno up as he goes on with his hands on the top rope. Ohno hits a knee to the face and then hits a bull hammer and gets the ring. This was a good showing by Percy. I remember his best years came in front of him when he was on the best commentary team with Morrow and Nigel McGuinness. The momentum Kassius Ohno had was also getting there to get ready to get the final battle in with Ritchie Steamboat. Main event of the night saw the Ascension, Kenneth Cameron and Conor O'Brien go one-on in a tag team match with Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel. Match starts with a lockup with Cameron and Kidd. Kidd locks up from behind. Gabriel makes the blind tag and double team Cameron with a double hip toss. Gabriel hits a kick to the stomach. Gabriel attempts the German suplex as Cameron holds on to the ropes. Cameron hits a lovely looking reverse suplex and tags in O'Brien. Both men double team Gabriel. Conor gets a right body scissors in on Gabriel. Kidd gets in the tag and hits some kicks to the leg and hit a low drop kick. Kidd hits a kick to the temple and it's a springboard missile dropkick. Looks smooth, by the way. Conor then dominates Kidd onto the outside and it's a running press to the apron. Conor continues the assault with a shot to the throat. Cameron gets a blind tag and then relentlessly stomps. Several blind tags as they all do relentless stops on Kidd. Cameron hits an elbow and then a body scissors with a reverse chin lock. Cameron hits some elbows onto Kidd and continues the assault. Kidd hits some elbows. Conor then blind tags and some shots to the head for a near fall. Conor again gets in a body scissors. Kidd attempts to fight out, but Kenneth tags in and carries on the attack. Kidd fights back again with some rights and gets taken down by Cameron. That's for another near fall. Cameron continues on the offense with a European uppercut, which looks smooth. Conor tags in again and continues a relentless attack. Jim Ross on commentary, who does the main events, announces that WWE Champion CM Punk will be on the show next week. Interesting what the best in the world it's going to do down in NXT. Another blind tag. Kid moves out of the way. Kid rolls out and then tags in Gabriel. Gabriel attacks with some numerous kicks. And that's a shoulder tackle on Cameron. Gabriel attempts to go for the 450 but misses. The Ascension hits what they call the Fall of Man for a 3 count. This was a decent main event, proving that the Ascension were, without a doubt, at the time, the best tag team in NXT at this present moment. This was a very decent episode. I wouldn't say it was the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. There's a lot more action than wrestling, which I liked, because sometimes you do prefer the actions to really build the stories. So, that is this episode of Back to Black and Gold done. If you are enjoying the series, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a penny. Also, today, as I'm recording this on Thursday, I am on today's episode of Max Wrestling. So if you want to watch the podcast, it is at youtube.com/Max Wrestling Podcast. And if you are new to that, drop a like and a follow and subscribe on that as well. All right, that's it today's episode. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.